I'd like to take you back to March 25th of 2018. The venue is Tyumen, Russia, and it's the final shooting stage of the final race of the season. The IBU frequently schedules the final race as a mass start format to excite the fans and give the athletes a final head-to-head bout to secure critical points at the end of the season. In most scenarios, the season standings are usually set long before the final contest, and the excitement is somewhat artificial. Most athletes are ready for spring break and some time at home. However, not this day. As these athletes approached the shooting range for the final time, the season hung in the balance. The average World Cup skier races 200 kilometers per season, and the remaining 2.5K will decide the overall winner. So strap in as we relive the exciting finale of the 2018 IBU Biathlon World Cup season. First, let's meet the contenders. Anastasiya Kuzmina, representing Slovakia, is the current overall leader. The sister of Russian biathlon hero Anton Shipulin, wearing the yellow bib, and has a 52-point lead over her closest competitor. She is the twice reigning Olympic sprint champion, consistently posted some of the fastest ski times. The athlete representing Slovakia has home field advantage in Russia because Anastasiya was born in Tyumen. Kaisa Mäkäräinen from Finland is the challenger. Although having already won 2 overall titles, Kaisa had been atop the leaderboard for most of the season. With a 40th place in the sprint in Oslo-Holmenkollen, she relinquished the lead to Kuzmina. Down by 52 points, Kaisa comes into the final weekend in the hot seat, needing to fight for the overall Crystal Globe. The final 3 races of the season featured sprint, pursuit, and mass start competitions. Kuzmina was already slated to win the Sprint Globe and only needed a top 10 in the pursuit to claim a second minor title of the season. However, Mäkäräinen had the upper hand in the mass start, and she knew that in a head-to-head battle, she would have a fighting chance. She would need to claim valuable points to be within striking distance. The IBU points system awards 60 points for a win, 54 points for second, and 48 points for third, and then a descending quantity down to 1 point for 40th place. At the end of the season, the athlete with the most points is crowned the winner. The challenge for Mäkäräinen is that Kuzmina averaged an 8th place finish throughout the entire season. This meant that not only would the Finn need to beat the Slovak in 3 remaining races, but she would need to also beat all the other competitors to gain valuable points. On the day of the sprint, the athletes battled less than ideal conditions. A light snowfall challenged the athletes on the range, while the nighttime competition under the lights made for fast tracks. The demand for a good race tonight was crucial, as it would set you in prime position for the pursuit the following day. But more on that later. Kaisa would shoot clean for the first time all season and use her early start spot to put pressure on Anastasiya. Kuzmina would do the opposite and post one of her worst shooting records of the season. And despite dealing the fastest ski time on the course, Kuzmina would fall out of the top 10. However, Kuzmina would get some help from a later starter and fellow Eastern European. Daria Domracheva of Belarus would shoot clean and ski a competitive ski time to Kaisa. The Belarusian athlete would edge out the Finn by approximately 3 seconds, which she earned with a fast standing shooting. As the final racers crossed the finish line, Kaisa would earn a silver medal and Anastasiya would finish over a minute behind in 12th. Despite the poor showing in the first battle, Kuzmina would retain her position in first overall, but lose 25 points to her challenger. The pursuit race is many fans' favorite competition on the biathlon circuit. It's set up like a game of cat and mouse. The winner of the prior day has the advantage, and the rest have to hunt the leader in order to win. Kaisa set herself in prime position to gain on Kuzmina in the leaderboard with her great result in the sprint. But time and time again, we've witnessed pursuit leaders crack under the pressure of needing to hold the lead. Going into the first shooting, Kuzmina had made her game plan known. Ski fast and get back into fighting position. As she approached the shooting mat, she had already moved up 4 places and was sitting in 8th place. Meanwhile, Mäkäräinen had cleaned her first stage and left Domracheva in the penalty loop. Kuzmina would clean her targets and leave the range in 4th, only 48 seconds back of Mäkäräinen. Upon the completion of the second stage, Kaisa left the door open with a missed shot and was surprised to see Anastasiya on the mat next to her as she climbed up to second place. While Kaisa raced around the penalty loop, Anastasiya would also miss a target as the other competitors would shoot clean, dropping Mäkäräinen to second and Kuzmina to fifth, but now only 19 seconds back of Kaisa. As the athletes entered the range for their first standing, Mäkäräinen would post up on the number 3 mat and take her first shots as Kuzmina entered the shooting range. As Kaisa missed her second target of the day, Kuzmina began to fatigue from the fast times she was showing on the course and would miss twice. Kaisa would again see her foe in close proximity and leave the penalty loop in 4th place. Kuzmina would be overtaken by several athletes with good shooting stages and leave the stadium in 10th, 45 seconds behind Mäkäräinen, but still in pole position overall. As Mäkäräinen entered the final stage, she knew there was an opportunity to gain major ground on the Slovak athlete. Mäkäräinen could see 60 points within reach. All 3 leaders would miss in their final stage. As she fired them down and cleaned her stage, Kuzmina entered the range and witnessed the standard for which she needed to achieve. The challenge now became less about hunting and more about damage control. As Mäkäräinen left the range fighting for the lead, Kuzmina would need to finish in 8th place to retain her spot atop the rankings. Kuzmina would rely on her fast ski speed to move up 3 places on the last lap and finish in 6th place. However, Mäkäräinen was able to edge out France's Anaïs Bescant for the victory and gain another 22 points on the overall. Kuzmina failed in her mission to hunt down Mäkäräinen. However, she was able to maintain her spot atop the leaderboard. Going into the final race of the season, the head-to-head mass start, Kuzmina and Mäkäräinen were only separated by 5 points. On the morning of the mass start, both athletes knew what they needed to do: beat the other. And to make matters more confusing, Kaisa would toe the start line with the yellow bib, despite not actually being in the lead. At the end of the season, the IBU drops the worst 2 results of each athlete, so cumulatively, Kaisa was in the lead and deserved the yellow bib. But after dropping the worst results, Kuzmina was still in front for the Crystal Globe. It was obvious what the fans came to see: a one-on-one battle, and these women took center stage right off the bat. Moving to the front, the pack seemingly let the fighters parade around the course on the first lap and advertised the combat that was to come. As our gladiators led the pack into the range for the first stage, snow began to fall as if Mother Nature was telling the athletes the challenge won't come easy. Both athletes would start with a miss and find themselves in the penalty loop, dropping down to 18th and 19th respectively. However, the ranking in the race did not matter. As the pack snaked through the woods, Kuzmina and Mäkäräinen would take turns leading as their incredible ski speeds would naturally bring them into contact with the leading group. As the leaders on the low end of the range fought for the day's prize, both Crystal Globe contenders shot clean and moved their way up to 11th and 12th, still together. Neither athlete could help but feel right at home at the front of the race, started moving up the field to 1st and 2nd place, entering the stadium in the spotlight once again. Quick to her first shot, Kuzmina would fire off 2 before Mäkäräinen's first. However, she missed her second shot and would be vulnerable to losing the globe. Unfortunately for Mäkäräinen, she would also miss a shot and squander the opportunity to take the lead, when suddenly her opportunity to lead turned into a nightmare. A second miss for Kaisa would mean she would now be playing catch-up. Upon completion of her penalty loops, 26 seconds stood between Mäkäräinen and her hopes of claiming the overall, and these 26 seconds belonged to the fastest skier on the course. Over the next 2.5 kilometers, Kaisa would put the hammer down and close the gap down to 17 seconds. Kuzmina would continue her fast shooting and nail the first 4 targets before sending the final one wide, giving Kaisa one final window of opportunity. Kaisa would clean, and from the look on her face, she could tell that she was back in the game. As she rounded the corner to head back out on course, who did she meet but Anastasiya Kuzmina? And with that, the entire season was going to come down to a 2.5 kilometer ski race between the 2 fastest athletes on the course. With the momentum of the clean shooting, Kaisa quickly took the lead and pulled ahead of Anastasiya, but the win was not in the bag yet. Sitting 8th and 9th, Kaisa would need more separation to earn points and take the globe. Fighting tooth and nail, Kaisa overtook Japan's Fuyuko Tachizaki. However, she knew it would not be enough, for Kuzmina would probably overtake her as well. Continuing the fight, Mäkäräinen would overtake Germany's Carolina Hochler, and there was no sense there would be any mercy. Meanwhile, the woman who dominated on the tracks all year began to crumble. Kuzmina would be overtaken by Norway's Tiril Eckhoff and could feel a herd of athletes on her heels. Giving it her all, Mäkäräinen pushed over the final climb in an attempt to earn more valuable points, but her attempts were futile. With no chance of Mäkäräinen Mäkäräinen being able to catch the lead group, Anastasiya would now need to finish in 8th place to claim victory by 1 point. However, she was facing a fatigue battle of her own. Having now been overtaken by Korea's Anna Fraulina, Kuzmina found herself down in 11th place. As Mäkäräinen crossed the finish line, she sealed the deal and moved 3 points ahead of Kuzmina on the overall points list. Improbable finishes like this is why we love biathlon. A lot of luck had to have gone Kaisa's way for this incredible feat to ever have happened. First, over the past 3 races, Anastasiya shot well below her season average in the standing position. Even one extra standing hit over the last 3 races could have given Kuzmina enough places to earn enough points to retain her lead. Second, imagine if Anaïs Biscamp from France was able to sneak ahead of Mäkäräinen on the sprint to the pursuit finish line. A role reversal would have resulted in Kaisa losing 6 points in her rankings and ultimately the Crystal Globe. However, it can't go without saying that Mäkäräinen's fight when it counted is exactly what fans love about biathlon. Over the last 3 races, Mäkäräinen was able to shoot well above her season average and step up to the challenge presented. And because of this, she deserves to be queen. I hope you enjoyed this opportunity to relive the final duel of the 2018 season. If you did enjoy this content, hit the like and subscribe buttons below and check out my Patreon to support the channel. Biathlon is an awesome sport, and it's battles like these that make it so entertaining. However, there are a lot of cool stories happening all around the sport, and I'm attempting to highlight them with this channel. If you're into biathlon and enjoyed this video, you may also want to check out this one, where I share some more behind the scenes biathlon stories.